Okay guys, so today's video is going to be about SHTF ammo stockpiles. I'm going to cover what sort of ammo you guys should store, what calibers to have on hand, what type of premium ammunition you guys should keep, the amount of ammo that I think you guys should have, right? So I'm going to cover all these details and everything, deep diving into this topic here shortly. So if you guys do go on to enjoy this video and you guys like content like this, make sure to click that subscribe button for more content like this. Comment down below if I missed anything or if you guys have any feedback to leave in the chat for the community. And yeah, let's get into the conversation. So the first thing I want to cover is going to be the minimum amount of ammo I think that everybody should have on hand at all times when it comes to being a prepared citizen, an American citizen, somebody who exercises their Second Amendment rights, okay? I think everybody, if you guys have a firearm that shoots any type of NATO round or NATO caliber, you should have 1,000 rounds on hand at minimum at all times. And that's just at the minimum. That's your soft medium to start with, okay? So if you have a gun that shoots 7.62 by 39 or 5.56, both of those should have 1,000 rounds stored away right away. Any handguns that you have that shoot 9mm, 40 or 45, all of those should have 1,000 rounds stored away right away, okay? That's just your soft medium to start with. Once you have your 1,000 rounds stored away to begin with, then you want to start working your way up from 1,000 to 2,000 rounds and work your way up in the thousands. You may not be able to buy a case 1,000 rounds at a time, but work your way up until you have multiple thousands for each primary caliber, okay? And I recommend for your primary handgun and your primary rifle to have at least 2,000 rounds on hand at all times. And make sure you have enough training ammunition, and I'm going to touch that here shortly. The top 3 rounds that you guys are going to want to store, it's all depending on your area, what's available, what's in demand specifically to you, and also what is the weapon systems that you own. It's pointless for you to own another caliber if that's not the weapon system that you operate. I mean, that's just common sense. Some people like to buy other rounds for other reasons, for barter, whatever it may be. But make sure you own ammunition for whatever weapon system you own, okay? And what I'm getting at here is I think you guys need to make sure that you have the top 3 calibers that are covered when it comes to stockpiling ammo, and the most important ones. Have a primary handgun round, a primary rifle round, and I suggest 22. Okay, when it comes to training ammo, one thing I recommend to everybody is have a good 22 rifle on hand and a 22 pistol. And if you don't have 1 or 2 of those options, then I highly recommend you have some type of 22 conversion kit for your primary fighting rifle or your primary handgun. This way you guys could get in good quality training, use the same weapon manipulations in the way you function that exact weapon in training. You guys will be able to practice that consistently, but you're not going to be having to pay the price of a primary quality 9mm or 5.56 round, okay? Ammunition is expensive today. Training with 22 versus training with 5.56 is a lot cheaper. So it's just common sense, simple maths. So if you guys could get like a CMMG conversion kit for your rifle and train some 22, you might even get some malfunctions, but you'll be able to train the malfunction drills through that. So it's highly recommended. It's highly valuable training. I know a lot of people who have these kits and they're really successful and they have a lot of fun and a lot of good valuable training with them. So have a good stock of 22 on hand is what I'm getting at essentially, guys. It's the best training tool, and 22 will still fill up the stew pot and it will still drop somebody if you have proper shot placement. Anybody who says anything otherwise just doesn't know ballistics and they're just trying to sound like a tough guy, honestly. But yeah, minimum amount I would say of 22 to have on hand, since it's not a primary caliber and the price of it is so cheap. Have anywhere from like 4,000 to 10,000 rounds of 22 on hand at all times. And that's not hard to do. You could go and buy 1,000 rounds of 22 for what, like $100, I think. So yeah, you could easily stock up on some 22 in a month and be good for your whole stock. So I highly recommend you guys have a good stockpile of 22, anywhere from 5 to 10,000 rounds, and have some conversion kits to convert your primary weapon systems like your AR, your handgun, to convert those to a 22, or have some type of 22 version of them that you could train with. So you could train the same weapon manipulation, malfunctions, etc. All right. Okay, guys, so a good primary rifle round is going to be any round that takes down any 2-legged critters and any medium to potentially large game animals if you get the opportunity. Most of the time, you're not going to want to be using all the energy expenditure to try and hunt big game because it won't really be worth it in a SHTF scenario. but sometimes it will be a necessity and it will be worth it. So make sure you guys have ways that you could bag those type of animals. With the right load, a 5.56 or a 2.23 can easily take down a deer and sometimes even bigger animals with the proper place shot. Okay. I've seen it done and I know people who have done it. So anybody who says otherwise, it may not be ethical and the most best option, but it will definitely get the job done and do it for you. So yeah, have a good primary rifle round, a good primary handgun round, such as 9mm, 40, 45, and 22 as your backup for hunting, collecting, and it could also double as a self-defense round, okay? So those are the top 3 rounds I suggest all of you guys have on hand when it comes to your ammo stockpile. Obviously, there's other calibers you could store for fun, for miscellaneous, and to add to the stockpile, but those are the 3 ones that you guys should stockpile to the rafters as much as you can, okay? Next thing I want to touch on is premium ammo for self-defense, including that in your stockpile. And what a lot of people don't mention, or they do mention, but sometimes they do fail to mention, is going to be only having FMJ for your stockpile, only having some type of full metal jacket when it comes to 5.56 or 9mm, only having M193 or just pure ball ammo for your 9mm. That is a good idea. I don't think that's a bad method to start with. Using that method, you could store back a lot of ammunition for a cheaper price. But once you got a good bulk amount of ammo stored, of range ammo, full metal jacket, of whatever you're storing back, make sure you start to store back some premium ammunition. Have some Federal or HSDs, some Hornady hollow points. Have something that's going to provide the most effective ballistic capabilities on target, essentially. So like have something that's going to be the most effective that round is. If you guys have 5.56 or 2.23 stored for your AR-15 weapon systems, make sure you have some good soft points or varmint rounds stored that are going to cause a lot of damage on soft flesh targets. Not to mention, I'm not saying that 5.56 M193 isn't going to cause plenty of damage and won't be effective on soft flesh targets, because we know it will be, and we know it has been for plenty of years throughout this country's history. But having those higher quality soft points, self-defense, hunting rounds, and things like that will also make it easier to take game when it comes to harvesting bigger animals. And yeah, the faster you drop a target in a situation, the better off you're going to be. So have some primary premium defensive calibers for your primary weapons, such as your AR-15, AK-47, handgun, whatever it may be that you have for your primary top weapons. Have premium ammo for it stored back. So quickly, I'm going to cover for you guys how I think you should be storing your ammunition in bulk for your ammo stockpile when it comes to prepping. So there's one specific ideal method, and that's going to be using metal ammo cans. These could either be surplus ammo cans or from Harbor Freight. I got this one from Harbor Freight. They also sell these at Walmart. You guys can get them anywhere from 15 to 20 bucks per can. It's a very cheap investment to make sure your ammo is safe and sealed from the environment. Those plastic ammo cans that you guys get, one second, I'll show you what I mean. So these plastic ammo cans that you guys can get right here, these little cheapo ones that you can find, these are okay for temporary ammo storage or using as your range buckets or range ammo buckets. Do not use those for long-term ammo storage. I could just show you right here if you look closely. You see how it flexes like that? See when I squeeze it, how it flexes? You can see the edge flexing. All right. What that means, what's going to happen, when you fill that up with too much weight, with too much ammunition that weighs too much for that container, it's not going to have a waterproof seal. It's going to flex from the lid. The lid's going to have an air gap, and that container is essentially exposed to all the environments because it's not actually built to the same specifications as a metal 50 caliber ammo can. So if you guys are storing any of your ammo for long-term ammo storage, let me reiterate this so you remember this and never forget it. Have metal 50 caliber ammo cans. You guys can get them at your Army surplus, Walmart, or Harbor Freight. You could also order them online, but why? I have 1,000 rounds of 9mm stored in this ammo can right now. You guys can see there's a little bit of space left, so you could fit about probably 1,500 to 2,000 rounds in there. That's just what I got in there. I also keep these packets from Wise Dry. So this is a silica gel pack. This one is rechargeable, so you just throw it in the microwave and you recharge it once the dots in it turn green. But I highly recommend that for everybody who's storing their ammo. Have some silica gel packs in each 50 caliber ammo can per 1,000 rounds, or however much ammo you have stored. Have some type of desiccate or silica packs in there. I got the 20-gram ones just for overkill, for extra moisture absorption. And I got those ones because they're also rechargeable. So whenever the balls in them turn green, I know to throw it in a heater or a microwave and recharge it. So yeah, that's how you store your ammunition for long-term storage. I highly recommend you guys do this properly. It will extend the shelf life from being effectively being stored for 5 to 10 years to effectively being stored to 20 to 50 years. So it's very important and very essential. Before we wrap things up for this ammo stockpile video, that I want to reiterate to you guys and get you guys to understand, and I'm sure some of you guys are already aware of this, being a prepared-minded individual in wargaming, some of these scenarios in your heads. When it comes to ammo stockpiles, you're not taking any of this with you if there's a bug out scenario. And if you believe you're going to be able to take even a small fraction of close to half of it or a quarter of it, you are living a fantasy. You do not want to be bugged down and weighed down by your ammo stockpiles. I think it's far more important to have food, water, and other capabilities in your bug out kit ready to go. That's not trying to say that ammo is not important. You guys should have a good amount of ammo and defensive capabilities in your bug out kit, but only just enough to get you by, right? I would only say have maybe a double combat loadout, if that maybe still be too much weight within itself. I would say have a 22 conversion kit of some sort. Like we talked about earlier in this video, have a good amount of 22 on hand, because you could store 500 rounds of 22 for much less weight than 5.56 or 9mm. And then have about a full combat load of whatever your primary rifle is. If that is AR-15, have a full combat load of AR mags ready to go. And then for your secondary weapon system, have at least 3 to 6 magazines of your handgun mags loaded, ready to go, with primary ammunition too. I'm not telling you guys to have full metal jackets ready to go in your go bag. If that's all you can afford and you can't afford any hollow points right now, then get full metal jackets, because it's better than leaving with nothing. But if you guys could afford, by any chance, having one of those magazines full of soft points, and one of the ones for your primary handgun filled with hollow points, I highly advise you do that, and it'd be the best method, because you're not leaving with your stockpile of ammo. You're going to be leaving thousands of rounds at home. I got thousands of rounds stored back as a prepper. It's what I do. It's part of the 3 B's of prepping: beans, bullets, band-aids, right? So I have the thousands of rounds that you're supposed to have, but I know if I have to leave in a bug out scenario, there's no chance in hell that I'm ever going to be leaving with even more than 1,000 rounds, if that, right? Depending on if I'm vehicle mobile. If I'm having to leave a vehicle, I'm leaving with 200 rounds or less. So that's just basically one thing I wanted to cover with you guys before I ended up this video here. The fantasy, the fallacy that people talk about, bugging out with all this ammo, just a bunch of combat loadouts. Having a chest rig ready to go with 10 to 12 mags is not a bad idea. If you could wear it on your body, that's different. You could don the weight on you. Having extra mags to go in an assault pack with extra sustainment gear is highly important as well. But don't fall for the false perception and false reality that you're going to be able to leave with all this ammo and supply it to your whole group and get in sustained gunfights and you guys come out on top. It's going to be quickly the demise of you and your people if that's the mindset you're going with. The purpose of the Minuteman in militia is avoidance. It's almost like a hit and run type of scenario. You want to strike and leave the site. You want to get off the X right after you strike. So it's almost like guerrilla warfare tactics. You never want to be there for too long, because you are not working with the strength and the power and logistics of the military-industrial complex, okay? If you're operating as a Minuteman, guerrilla fighter, or partisan, whatever you want to consider yourself, you're operating with such a small logistic support, through your supply chain, it's not worth it sometimes to even attack or try to engage whatsoever. Sometimes your whole mission is going to be to escape and evade. So yeah, move light, move fast, and you're going to be leaving a lot of ammo. But that's just the reality of stockpiling. But yeah, guys, that's basically what I got for today. I want you guys to remember the goal of the Minuteman or partisan, guerrilla fighter, whatever you want to deem yourself, is not to try to operate as a infantry full logistical supply chain of the military-industrial complex. You are not an infantry force. You are not backed by the military-industrial complex supply chain or logistic system. So if something was to happen where we were facing a kinetic fight on our land, it's going to be a much different story. We're almost going to be fighting extensively, exclusively with guerrilla fighting tactics, okay? In that kind of context, in that sort of manner. So Minuteman tactics, avoidance. Don't try to use all your gear and act like Rambo. But that's basically what I got for today. Hope you guys went on to enjoy it. Make sure you're fit, hit the weights, do some cardio, make sure you got good endurance. And this is FP out.